What's good, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Wedge, part of the Early Edge universe, every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time if you are watching us live, or if you are watching on demand. We want everybody here as we get ready for the next PGA Tour event this week. It's all about the Honda Classic. The West Coast swing is over. We're now heading to the Florida swing. No more elevated events, at least not the next couple of weeks, because we had the Waste Management, Scotty Scheffler, $3.6 million. We had the Genesis. Congratulations to John Rahm, $3.6 million. But this week, the highest ranked players are Billy Horschel and Sungjae Im. That means it's an opportunity for somebody else. Here are the odds as we look at them. Sungjae, and this agrees with M Squared's model on SportsLine if you are a SportsLine member. However, at plus 900, it's very hard to bet in a full field at that number. There you see Shane Lowry. He finished second a year ago. And then I just mentioned Billy Horschel up there as well, plus 2,000. It's going to be a very, very interesting week. With all that being said, let's bring in the stars of the show. You know him. You love him. And last week, first and foremost, he decided to skip the show. Some little guy named Tiger Woods. You had to cover what, Patrick McDonald? Good afternoon.
That's on me, fellas. You know, I brought it up to Tiger. I was like, hey, my man, we got a show at 3 o'clock Eastern. Can you move your press conference or anything? He death stare, just glazed through me. He's like, Patrick, get the hell out of here. But, you know, it's a pleasure to be back with you guys. I missed you guys for the week. And finally, a field that I think we can kind of sink our teeth into with, you know, some lesser known golfers.
You will never hear negative Nellies at the Early Wedge. I can't stand reading on social media. Oh, this week's going to suck. Oh, really? Sepp Straka last year, 5 shots, came back on Sunday. It was exciting. It happened. Sink your teeth into it. Now, this man, oh my goodness, he continues to flex those first-round leader muscles. He is the counselor of cash, and Nejad, how about a little plus 3,500? Now, we had to split it. But I'll take plus 1,700 for a first-round lead. Your thoughts?
It's a great start. This is sort of first-round leader season for me. I've got some at the end of the show today, and what I mean by season is last year around this time, I hit a lot of first-round leaders. So listen, I understand they're gimmicky, they're long-shotty, and they'll be long-shotty this week too, but they're very fun, and if you hit them, they bankroll the rest of your tournament. So hopefully we can do that again, but obviously we're looking for more consistency with the head-to-head matchups and the top 20s and things of that nature. So I'm excited about this tournament. I mean, the negative Nelly thing, I truly don't get it. Like, you either like to watch golf and bet on golf and play DFS golf, or you don't. Like, to me, yeah, I guess it's nice to have John Rahm in a tournament and Rory McIlroy, but I personally enjoy it the same. Maybe that makes me weird, but I'm just as excited about this tournament than I was last week. Again, maybe I'm weird, but that's actually how I feel.
No, you're a golf lover. That's what you are. You're a golf lover. You should watch and enjoy every single tournament, regardless. All right, now, in the chat, Joe says, or maybe it wasn't Joe, somebody says, see ya with the guns. Big Cheesy, see ya with the guns. Well, more of a pistol. Maybe, but still a gun nevertheless. And then Joe says, Patrick, EC is not a viable replacement for you. Your thoughts on EC?
You know, EC, we had some good banter Phoenix week when you were with the Super Bowl, but, you know, it's time we're talking about big guns. Let's the big guns come back to the show, you know?
That's true. He may or may not have said in Phoenix at Super Bowl week, he's not on my level. I don't know.
He's not wrong. You know, we are on different levels.
All right, let's get into it. Storylines that could affect the betting lines this week. We only have 2. And, Counselor, I'm coming to you first because the overriding storyline this week is who's going to take advantage of the fact that the Rahms, the JTs, the Roys, they're not here this week. Start us off.
Yeah, so there's guys at the top of the board that are favored for a reason, but as soon as you get past the first couple of names, you start to realize it's kind of anybody's game, and especially knowing all the pitfalls that we're going to have here at the Honda Classic when it comes to water hazards and things of that nature, this board could flip in an instant. You could see some guys at 50 to 1, 70 to 1, 90 to 1 truly contending on Sunday. And by the way, what does that mean from an in-tournament standpoint? Well, of course, we're going to have in-tournament head-to-head matchups, and I'll give out some like I always do on Friday, BPE, Early Edge. But more importantly, there's going to be some live betting opportunities. So while I'm going to give some outrights today with a few of the guys that I like, I will tell you, this is a great tournament to live bet, especially knowing that it's not going to be crowded at the top. You know, last week, it was tough to live bet, right? Because you had guys at the top that you just didn't think could get past, whether it was John Rahm or Max Homa or, you name the contender. It's hard to live bet those situations because those guys typically don't sink. They typically don't have tremendously bad days. This week, it's a different story because of the talent level.
You're absolutely right. By the way, he mentioned the water. Lean into good iron players this week. 15 of the 18 holes at PGA National have water on them. That's why you'll see a player, you'll look at your score, and he'll be like -2, and then he's +2 like 2 holes later. This is a very, very difficult golf course. See ya. Thank you very much. All right, Patrick, let me come to you because with no John Rahm this week, it's not the same storyline as Sia, but it does open our minds up a little bit. Talk to me.
Yeah, finally, I feel like we can kind of scroll down the odds board a little bit and look at some of those long shots on like the past couple of weeks with Phoenix and Riviera as well. But here's the thing about the Honda Classic. 500 FedEx Cup points are up for grabs. That's the same amount for Phoenix. So, yeah, while it's great, Scotty Scheffler won $3.6 million, all that hard-earned dough. The FedEx Cup points are the same this weekend. We saw it last year with Sepp Straka. Right. He kind of used this as a springboard for his season. He nearly won at Harbor Town. He nearly won the first event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. He probably should have won, let's be honest, against Willie Z there. So it's a big opportunity for some of these guys. And to Sia's point with kind of the volatility with this golf course, with all the water, if you are kind of following your guys live or following along live, it can be a super tilting experience. Do not be surprised if, your guy has one water ball per round. Kind of just, take your medicine, maybe take some Pepto-Bismol and kind of just enjoy the ride.
Last year, I was trying for the life of me to remember who it was, but I was down 3 on a head-to-head going into 17. And I just, how like PGAtour.com, you'll put your favorites at the top. And I was like, I've lost it. So I took them off. And then all of a sudden I look at my account and it's more than I thought it should be. And the player I was playing against went 4 over on the final 2 holes. And I won the head-to-head. This is exciting for golf betting. That's what this really, truly is. If you like betting, this is it. See ya. Go ahead.
I was going to say, because you mentioned people fading down the stretch, we're going to have some head-to-head matchups where either our guy has a big lead heading into the bear trap or our guy doesn't have a big lead heading into the bear trap. And the next thing you know, somebody catches up 3, 4, 5 strokes. So don't get too discouraged because early doesn't mean much. It's late that you really got to be dialed in.
You're damn right. By the way, the world famous bear trap, 15, 16, and 17, 2 par 3s and a par 4, and they are not for the faint of heart. All right, let's get into it. We start this show. If you're brand new, first of all, welcome to the Early Wedge. We also do DFS because daily DFS, very popular. The weekly DFS, very, very popular. So, Counselor, I'm going to start with you. Who do you like this week? And then who's the player you're fading? Start us off.
Yeah, well, I'll start with Chris Kirk. I mean, I just think he's kind of old reliable here. While we don't consider him to have much upside when it comes to taking down tournaments, I think with this field, it's pretty clear that Chris Kirk could just kind of end up being the guy who potentially wins this tournament. We saw, his last tournament out, it wasn't very good, but prior to that, a T3 and an outright third place. So he's coming in with great form. His weighted tee to green, which is something I'm trying to simplify some of my metrics this particular week, and tee to green, greens in regulation, approach play, like you said, Coach, those are things I'm certainly focused on, a bit of the putter as well. With that said, Chris Kirk really rates out well across the board there. So I like Chris Kirk at 9,900. I think one thing that needs to be mentioned with him is people don't want to pay 9,900 for Chris Kirk. That's what makes him a good DFS play. People are going to play Sung J M. They're going to play Shane Lowry, one of the two, and then they're going to probably skip down to the low 9K range, which is perfectly fair. What that means is that Chris Kirk gets marginalized a little bit. And so that's part of the reason I'm taking him here at 9,900. Robbie Shelton is a guy I just think has tremendous upside. I like his approach numbers could be better. Putter could be better. But I just love his weighted tee to green. And I love the fact that he's played here twice, 1 missed cut, 1 11th place finish. I think Robbie Shelton is the type of guy in this field that really has tremendous upside. So I like him at 7,800. Ben Martin is a name I actually had at Pebble. And I think he ended up finishing 13th there, or certainly in the top 15. I think he's just a sneaky candidate that nobody's going to have. And again, this is a DFS question, so I'm going to play the DFS game. 6,900, he's going to get passed over. And I think he has some upside to finish top 30, top 25 in this tournament. My fade here, and Coach, I know you like this guy. It's not because I don't like Adam Svensson. It's because he is being talked about in a way that I trust his ownership is going to be tremendously high. Okay. And listen, I think he potentially has outright potential this particular week, but I'm not, I'm not really going there. And if he crashes and burns, I think 20% of the field, or at least close to it, is going to crash and burn with him. He's got upside and he's popular for a good reason, but I just prefer in that 8K, 7K range, I typically prefer to just fade a guy that might be in that close to 20% ownership range.
Would it be accurate, or would I be not accurate if I said Adam Svensson has been victorious here before?
I would say it's accurate because he did it not in a PGA Tour event.
Ah, there you go. 2015 Korn Ferry Q School Finals on this course. Adam Svensson got it done. He got it done. And I'll never forget, it was like 13 months ago. I'm playing that little event down in Florida. You guys know that one I always go to. Mm-hmm. Jack Nicklaus and me hung out last year there, that one. So as I'm going to the 13th hole, there was an extra female long driver that was helping us, that was hitting an extra tee shot for us. Very nice lady. Well, the pro that was with us, Lexi Thompson's brother, started talking to her. And she said, "Oh, my boyfriend is all set for this season. He loves to finish." And I went, she goes, "In the final round of a golf tournament. He's in great shape." I went, "Oh, okay, I got you." So, you know who she was talking about? Anyone? Yes, Sia.
Well, my guess is going to be Adam Svensson, Alex. Who is Adam Svensson?
Nothing gets past.
There you go. Who is Adam Svensson? He is my guy this week. This is his course. He is going to win. Maybe. I just like telling that story. All right. See ya. I like your plays a lot. Patrick McDonald, Mr. @AmateurTatus on the Twitter. Who do you like this week?
Man, who could forget the 2015 Q School Final? A true "where were you" moment. Am I right, Coach?
Right.
But hell of a pool. I'm going to start off with the 3-7K guys. I really like Aaron Rai this week at 7,700. He's gained an each tee to green metric his last 2 weeks in both of those designated events. He's the best in terms of driving accuracy over the last 6 months in this field, and he's 14th tee to green during that same span. And this is a guy that we've seen win over in Europe, kind of similar to their designated events, a Rolex Series event, Scottish Open a few years back in really difficult conditions. So popped up at the leaderboard at Torrey Pines there the first round. I think he could be in for a good week. Will Gordon's a guy I like a ton this week at 7,500, 11th in strokes gained total, 12th tee to green, 6th off the tee the last 6 months. He's played well at Mayakoba, RSM Classic as well, kind of two venues where you got to keep the ball in front of you. He did play here last year as well, made the cut, so that some good juju going his way. And then Brandon Wu at 7,300, runner up there at Pebble Beach, and he has a weird way of kind of popping up on these coastal kind of accuracy-driven courses. You think about Mexico Open, Puerto Rico. He played well at the Scottish Open as well last year. So he was like a real big amateur. He's slowly kind of getting his feet underneath him in the pro level. So I like him a lot in windy, difficult conditions. And then my fade is Shane Lowry at 10,400. And look, I agree with Sia where if you're one of those players who kind of fades on ownership alone, I think you should probably fade Sung J M this week because he's going to be pretty popular. But I think you could fade both of them if we're being fair and kind of start off with the Chris Kirk like at the top if you want to be somewhat contrarian. And so since his BMW PGA Championship win, he's missed 3 out of his last 5 cuts. It doesn't really look like that because a lot of the events don't have cuts. You think about the DP World Tour Championship, the CJ Cup, the Hero World Challenge. There are no cuts in those, so I'm not counting those. But 3 out of the last 5 times there were cuts. He's missed it. I understand he played well last week, but the tee to green shakiness combined with kind of some question marks around his putter, I think are enough to kind of make me steer clear.
I actually like all of these. And that hurts me to say when it comes to Patrick McDonald. All right, there are no dumb questions here on the early wedge. We want to play to everybody, whether you're an expert or you are brand new. Mitchell in the chat, I need you to answer this question for me, counselor. What does DFS mean, please?
Oh, Mitchell, it means daily fantasy sports. You can play daily fantasy for pretty much every sport, including golf. And I got to say, golf DFS is the best DFS. There's a reason for that. It's not just because I'm on this show. It's because you get a 4-day sweat. In some cases, a 2-day sweat if a bunch of your guys don't make the cut. But this is the only sport, quite literally, where you can put money in, let's say a $3 tournament or a $5 DraftKings FanDuel, whatever you play your DFS on, And on Sunday, your ticket is still live to some degree. You can literally monitor it over 4 days. You just don't get that in football. I love NFL DFS, but the reality is that thing is over in 6 hours. It's a long 6 hours, but it's 6 hours nonetheless. PGA is 4 days of a sweat. It's very little money that you need to put in just to get the entertainment value. There are $1 tournaments, 50-cent tournaments, $3 tournaments, all the way up to 3,000 and more. So I love DFS across the board, but PGA DFS, make no mistake about it, is the best DFS you can play.
You talk about tilting, Patrick. You said you tilt. Sometimes you can tilt playing DFS.
Oh, yeah.
You're sitting in first place and then a bogey, and all of a sudden you're in 54th. You're like, what just happened? Oh, Mikey was in line for a big payday on Sunday, and he said, I need Sahith Thagala to play badly. I need Gary Woodland to keep playing well, and none of those things happen.
Right.
And none of those things happen. That's DFS, but it's so much fun. So, Mitchell, welcome to the show. Welcome to DFS. See you. Thank you. Yeah, real quick. See you.
Well, I was just going to say he was in line for 300K if those two things had happened. And for the record, I believe he puts out his DFS player pool for the PGA on SportsLine. So you can get that literally every week among all the other sports he covers. So it's just great work by Mike to supplement this show for that matter.
And it's only $10 a month to be a member. That's it. We don't charge you thousands and thousands of dollars. We have the very best people. We work hard, and we only charge you $10 a month. It's a great, great marriage. All right, now, big news this week, gentlemen. The Masters and now the Open Championship have announced that if you are qualified and you play for LIV, you will be available and allowed to play in both tournaments this year. Should make the Champions Dinner a whole heck of a lot of fun at Augusta National. But as we know, those of us here at CBS, it's always our tournament because we love Augusta National.
Down this lane is a path to history. Yes, sir! It leads to a tradition unlike any other, the Masters on CBS.
There is nothing better. There is nothing better. If you ever get a chance to go, I don't care if it's practice round, I don't care if it's a play round, you go. You go. And you enjoy it. And then you thank the good Lord Jesus Christ that he allowed you to walk on those grounds. All right. Now, bread and butter. Bread and butter. Head-to-head matchups. That's where you're going to make your money. It's not fun. It's not exciting. But it is where you need to – well, it is fun because I won a couple of showdowns this week, so that's a lot of fun for me. See ya. Who? Oh, sorry. All right. So where are we going to start this week? See, I'm going to come to you, and I'm not going to tease you. I'm not going to tease you. I promise you I'm not for winning a showdown again. Who do you like this week, and do we have a chance for a showdown? Let's see. You're up first, sir.
If you're not going to do the teasing, I will, because I got to tell everybody, if there's ever a head-to-head in like this board, you see this head-to-head board on the early edge, aka the early wedge, and coach decides to challenge me in a showdown, don't take the bet. Because my record against the coach, everybody else I'm fine. In the SportsLine universe, my record's pretty good. For some reason, anytime I have a showdown with the coach across any sport, he wins. So you're welcome, coach. Who do I like? Matt Kuchar over Alex Noren is going to be the first one. The thing that really caught my eye here, and by the way, Alex Noren's history here is very, very good. His recent form, not so good, but his history here, he's got a fifth, he's got a third. Kuchar's history isn't bad either, though. It's not quite as good over the last 4 years as Noren, but what I like about Kuchar is his recent play. I think Kuchar's really dialed in. I don't think this course is going to be too much for him. And I'm saying plus 102. Noren's a very heavy favorite, which for the record probably means that Noren has taken a little bit of sharp money. I have to acknowledge that. But if I'm getting Kuchar at plus 102 in good form versus Alex Noren, who's been very shaky as of late, I'm going to take the plus money. I explained that sort of plus money proposition Friday morning on the early edge. You know, when I was getting Patrick Cantlay at plus 150, I took him against Rahm because Cantlay was plus 150. I'm just not going to deny that. And here it's a similar type of analysis. I'll take Kuchar plus 102 over Noren. Will Gordon over Nick Hardy. I don't think I need to repeat what Patrick McDonald just said about Will Gordon. I like Will Gordon. I think he's a pretty good course fit this week. And Nick Hardy, his ball striking has been good too. Both him and Will Gordon, the ball striking have been pretty good lately. But Nick Hardy just can't seem to find the putter. And so when it comes to that, like if I'm going to break any ties in DFS or otherwise, if you've just really been struggling with the putter, I'm probably going to be out on you. And so I like Will Gordon's upside. I like Hardy's upside, but I like Will Gordon's putter a little bit better. Finally, we're going to go Taylor Pendrith minus 130 over Christian Bezuidenhout. Speaking of a guy who just hasn't been in good form, hasn't played very well in quite some time, that person's name is Christian Bezuidenhout. So I'm going to take Taylor Pendrith's upside. Listen, I think I don't think Pendrith is where we want him to be quite yet from a ball striking standpoint. What we saw last summer from Pendrith was really electric, and he's really tailed off since then. But he's better than Christian Bezuidenhout. And the long story short here is he could get himself into trouble, but I'm willing to take that gamble because he's the much better golfer right now. So give me Pendrith minus 130.
The overall message that Sia just delivered to you at home is take players that are in form. Mm-hmm. On a course like this, if you're off just a little bit, it's a penalty, and it's wet, and you're dropping. And that's why it really plays to play into guys that are in really good form. All right, Mr. McDonald. Oh, I see you and I are going to have a little bit of fun. What do you like, big boy?
Yeah, I mean, Coach, I swear you see my matchups every week and you pick a couple just to go against, just for the sake of content, which I enjoy. I'm all for it. Unlike Sia, who's trying to kind of distance himself from you, I welcome it. Maybe I don't have the scar tissue yet. We'll cross that bridge when we have to. But I'm starting off Jonathan Vegas, minus 120 over Harris English. And these are all at DraftKings for those of you following along right now. And look, I'm a writer. I write big words out there. I'm just going to put this eloquently. Harris English kind of sucks right now. That's really, to the point, all you can say about the guy. He's coming off a hip injury. He hasn't really looked like himself, his 2021 version. Since then, he's struggled mightily off the tee, especially in terms of accuracy. You have Jonathan Vegas, who's been one of the best ball strikers over the last couple months, coming off his surgery as well. He's 9 for 10 here, making the cut. So his floor is much higher. I think his ceiling's much higher as well. Minus 120 is a price I'm willing to dive into. Next, I have Alex Noren, plus 100 over Aaron Wise. I do agree with Sia. I wish the kind of recent form was a bit better, but between these two guys, they've been getting it done around the green and on the green. And between those two skill sets, Alex Noren is better than Aaron Wise. And I think it's going to be kind of that same situation this week. And then finally, I have JT Poston, plus 100 over Adam Svensson. I just think JT Poston is going to win this week, to tell you the truth. I love his winning potential in this type of field. He did not have a great Phoenix Open or Genesis Invitational, but this is kind of the course, the field type where I believe he can thrive.
Very, very interesting. I love your takes. You know how smart I think you are when it comes to the world of golf. However, there is one word that I've not heard either one of you men say in your takes this week. And that word is wind. And it is going to be windy this week, which means let's start with my bottom play first. Alex Noren. Anybody that knows Alex Noren, what happens with his golf ball when he plays in the wind? It just moves. He plays a big cut. No chance this week. Alex Noren plays well here. No chance. Aaron Wise, I think, is the 5th or 6th betting favorite. People sleep on this cat all the time. That's number one. Number two, Hayden Buckley, your guy, Patrick McDonald, and you didn't take him over Nejad? What? Come on. You're so fickle week to week. You're like, Hayden Buckley's my guy all year. Don't see him here. I'll take him. Now.
Just wait, Coach.
Okay. Then Adam Svensson over JT Poston. I've already given you all the metrics. I've already told you the man lives in the area like every other player here, almost every other player, but he's won here before, unlike anybody else other than Sepp Straka and maybe other player I'm not thinking about, Sanjay M2. So, and by the way, M Squared's in the chat right now. Any questions, put them in there. He'll answer them live and in real color. So, Denny McCarthy, whenever there's a field like this, Denny McCarthy always pops up. And Billy Horschel, it's more about him, really. He's not in good form. He's one of the highest-ranked players, if not the highest-ranked player in the field. But he's not playing very well right now. He's just not. And Denny McCarthy is. And finally, Matt Cucci over Chris Kirk. Now, I know top 10 for Kirk last week. I know that Sia likes him this week in DFS. But Matt Kuchar is playing really well. He played well at the Genesis in a really good field. And I think because of his ball flight and his flat swing, it'll be under the wind, and he will really play well this week. So, Patrick McDonald, we've got two issues. And I'm happy to go with two. I'll take Aaron Wise, and I'll take Adam Svensson if you take JT Poston and you take Alex Noren, two separate showdowns. Are you in or are you out?
Let's double down, Coach. Let's do it.
Snake, hit the music.
It's gonna be a showdown.
Oh, it feels so good on a Tuesday. knowing that I'm going to buy dinner for my beautiful kids and better half on Sunday. No. Usually when we have a showdown, it's over on Friday, and I have a big event on Friday, so I would rather have it be done on Friday.
Okay, we'll make that work for you. You know, I am 1-0 in our last one. That's all I'll say.
That is true. That is very, very true. All right. Now, you see our bread and butters. You know head-to-heads is where we make our money at. But the placement bets are also a lot of fun. Top 40s, top 20s, top 10s, top 5s. How about we go into that market right now and see Nejad? It's only me and you because Patrick has been very clear. People watch this show every week. He doesn't like top 10s, top 20s. We tell people all the time, do what makes you feel comfortable. If you don't like this, then don't play it. Who do you like this week?
Yeah, I had to kind of tailor this down a little bit. I do want to say I do like Johnny Vegas. I know Mike is in the chat. He's going to make an appearance later on in this show on some of my picks, but I think I like Johnny Vegas in the top 20. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. But Shane Lowry at a plus number, top 20 in this field, I really like. Listen, I mean, Shane Lowry's been pretty inconsistent, but I think he showed some signs of the Shane Lowry last week. And let's not forget what he did last year, where he probably should have won, if not for the weirdest, sudden rainstorm and just kind of awkward moment for him, if we're being honest. Yeah. And he probably would have beat Sepp Straka in that tournament. So I think at a plus number to top 20 in this field, I think that's pretty favorable. Robbie Shelton, this is just a guy I'm big on this week. Listen, it could crash and burn, but there are some guys in this range like Robbie Shelton, maybe Jonathan Vegas, who's got odds a little shorter than this, but Joseph Bramlett. These are guys I'm willing to take a chance on this week because I think they have upside in spite of them having a couple issues here and there. But Robbie Shelton at plus 225, I honestly think he has the game to win it this week. And so I'm going to take him at plus 225 as a top 20. And Webb Simpson. Well, the curious case of Webb Simpson at plus 350. I'm getting plus 350 for a guy who I actually think is a pretty good course fit if we see anything that resembles an average Webb Simpson. Mm-hmm. I thought we saw some signs of him being not back, but at least average Webb Simpson last time he came out. The putter's been a disaster, but the approach play was actually pretty good. If he can rein in the putter a little bit, and we know historically he's been an okay putter, I think we're getting a really great number. I don't know when Webb Simpson's going to be back. I do think he is going to be back at some point, and this could be the tournament. This could be the field for him to show up, especially coming off some decent approach play.
I think his neck was worse than people thought it was at the end of last year. Don't you think so? I really do. And it just takes a while to get healthy. And when you have a neck injury and you're trying to play well, it's just a really hard thing to do. But if he's healthy and he plays well, he's a former U.S. Open champion. I mean, this guy has elite level game when he is on. All right, I got 4 plays. I'm going to go 3 in the top 20. Shane Lowry, same reasons for Sia. Lee Hodges, he played well here last year, and he's a name like Robbie Shelton that not a lot of people know, and not a lot of people know how good he is. Lee Hodges will win at some point on the PGA Tour, but you can see at plus 220, the books haven't quite caught up with how good he is. And, of course, I'm all in on Adam Svensson all week. Plus 150, I'll give you a top 20. Then Denny McCarthy. I need something a little more tasty. And he is very quiet. He is very humble. He's the best putter on tour. And when he plays around his house, because he plays in the event that I always brag about, he plays well. And he likes to sleep in his own bed. And he told me that himself in December. So I'll take Denny McCarthy plus 300 for a top 10. All right. Now, we've already done this once this year, and it's very, very hard to do, and that is pick a winner for the Honda Classic. And both of my guys, the last time Max Homa won, cashed that ticket on the same week. So this week, gentlemen, I'm coming to you, Sia. You've got several names that you like at different odds, which I like a lot. Sia, start us off.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Chris Kirk because I just like his upside. I usually don't use the word upside with Chris Kirk, but in this field, again, I hate to just keep re-emphasizing that, but in much greater fields over the last few tournaments, he's been top 5. And so I really think the game is together. I think Chris Kirk is back to some degree, and I think he absolutely could shine. So I think 30-1. In some places, I think this is as low as 24-1. So, I mean, I think if you can get anything 25-1 or greater, I think that's good value on Chris Kirk. Joseph Bramlett and Robbie Shelton, I'll just group them together. We got Bramlett at 55-1, Robbie Shelton at 50-1. These are guys that I talked about. I think they have upside. I think there's some issues, particularly with the putter. But in Robbie Shelton's case, I like his finishing position. He's got an 11th place here. It was a few years back. He's also got a miscut. But I think Shelton, I think his game really suits this course. Bramlett, another guy with upside that could fail you with the putter, but if he finds a hot putter, love the number 55-1. I added Sepp Straka in late because, listen, Sepp Straka is one of those guys. He's just a winner. When it comes, he's not the most talented golfer. And if you look at the metrics, they don't look very good. But the tournaments where he actually shines, which, by the way, was last year in this very same tournament, but it's not the only tournament he shined. He just crushes it across the board. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, if it's a momentum thing that he just picks up on, but he really crushed it last year. And I've seen tournaments where he crushes it on approach, off the tee, with the putter, around the green. And so at 55-1 for a former champion that we know has shined in the past, I'm willing to take that chance.
Last year on First Cut, there was a running joke because I took Straka early in the season in my one and done. And they thought it was an idiotic pick. He's a terrible player. And literally 2 weeks after I took him, he won the Honda Classic. So I had like the 2-week delayed humble brag, which did nothing for my one and done, but it felt good to brag about it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. All right. Now, before you tweet at us and go, was I really supposed to put full units on 4 or 5 picks? No, they're giving you picks that we think can win. When you're betting a winner outright, take it down to a 10th of a unit or a 5th, but never a full unit, whatever. If your unit's $100, then put $10 on each one or $15 on each one. If you hit a winner, you're going to have to be lucky to do it. It's very difficult to do. All right, Patrick McDonald, talk to me.
Coach, I could not agree more with that sentiment, unless that bet is on JT Poston this week at 35-1. He has burned me most notably at the Phoenix Open, but I think this is his get-right spot. I love what he can do off the tee, and when it comes to getting hot with the putter, that is JT Poston. And then our boy, Hayden Buckley, 65-1. I wish he came through for us at the Sony Open. If not for that Siwoo Kim chip-in on the 17th hole on Sunday, could have been a different story, but last 6 months, he's second off the tee in strokes gained off the tee in this field, only behind Johnny Vegas, 5th in driving accuracy, 5th in total strokes gained, 11th tee to green. And he has that taste of contention. He also had a top 5 at the Zozo Championship. So I really like what this cat can do. And then Aaron Rai, 70-1. I talked about him during the DFS segment. Winner overseas, extremely accurate off the tee, a great ball striker. Will Gordon at 70-1 as well. I'm a little disappointed he's not on Sia's card. You know, he talked him up a little bit. I think maybe we'll get him around.
He was on my card. I actually, right before the show, I was able to see your picks, and I was kind of debating because here's the thing. When it comes to outrights in this tournament, I want to leave some money for live betting, which I should have ended my segment here talking about that, but I know I started off the show doing that. So I actually peeled Will Gordon off my card. And again, I want to reemphasize live betting is going to be really important here. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. So we're going to have that consensus Will Gordon play once Sia finds his entry point. It's going to happen probably kind of Max Homa, all of Max Homa Farmers Insurance Open potentially. And then Ben Griffin, 70-1. If you look at his off the tee numbers from Pebble Beach, they're horrific because he hit 2 out of bounds on the 18th hole when the wind started swirling that late on Thursday there. He made a 10. Completely ended his chances, but I'm willing to go back to him. He's a guy who played well at the Bermuda Championship, kind of let go of that lead late, played well at the Wyndham Championship as well, Houston, RSM. So similar type courses. So I like him at 70-1. And then Brandon Wu, coastal guy, has put his nose into contention time and time again. So 100-1, I think, is a fair price on him.
I like that a lot. I'm going to make mine very, very quick. You guys know about Svensson, but here's the thing about Shane Lowry. I want you all to remember. Because even though when somebody's not in form, do we remember 2 of his wins, guys? Firestone, remember Firestone? He came out of nowhere and won there. And then the Open Championship literally came out of nowhere, and he won it there. So he's the type of player that even though he may not always be in form, he's one of those players that can flip that switch. That's why he's elite. And at plus 1,800, I don't mind that. I'm done going with Rahm or Rory or any of these guys at plus 800, plus 900, and I may miss out on a payday, but more times than not, you're going to lose those bets. So I like that sweet spot of 1,800 to 3,500, and then maybe a little sprinkle on a little bit higher like the other guys have as well. All right, we have reached the final segment of the show, and as we told you, we are preparing to add things to the show over the course of the next couple of weeks. We're going to do a one and done. We're probably going to start that the Players Championship, to be honest with you. So we are convening behind the scenes to see what we can do for you at home to include you as well. So long shots are kind of first round leaders or guys that we're just kind of looking at saying, keep your eyes on them because their numbers are eye-popping. So, Patrick, let me come to you. Who do you like in this department?
I got 3 first-round leader picks. I don't think the tee times are out yet, so maybe keep an eye on that. But
they just came out, just so everybody knows.
Oh, great.
Okay. Okay. So hopefully these guys are in the morning wave when the conditions are a bit calmer and the greens are pure. But I like JT Poston 55-1, Hayden Buckley 66-1, and Will Gordon 71. For all the reasons that I previously said. Will Gordon is kind of a known fast starter. He got out there at Mayakoba, grabbed the first round lead. So I really like those 3 guys.
All right. See ya. Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm actually confirming that all 3 of his are morning guys, and they are. All 3 of his are morning guys. 7 to 8 o'clock a.m. is when they're going off, a little after 8. So my first round leaders are all morning guys as well, all in the a.m. Let's start with Jonathan Vegas. I don't think we need to belabor the point on him. He can get red hot. He's been excellent. Weighted tee to green, however you look at it, approach off the tee. The putter can be a problem for him, which is why I don't have him on my outright card. But can he get hot for a round? Absolutely. Robbie Shelton, Bramlett, I've talked about them at length. The putter can be a problem here, but again, it's 60-1 for 1 round. Love the number there. Will Gordon, we've talked about. He's not on my outright card. He's not there, but he's here on my first round leader card at 70-1 like that. Now, the last 2 guys are interesting to me. I think Ryan Palmer has a legit shot. First of all, all of these guys, with the exception of Joseph Bramlett, have actually spiked in round 1s in this very tournament. So I want to put that out there. And Ryan Palmer is certainly one of those guys. So I think it's 70-1. This is the type of tournament, and this is the time of year where Ryan Palmer kind of surprises everybody and reminds them that he exists. It's always around this time of year, January, February, March, where he catches fire. And he's done that at this tournament as well. Finally, Dylan Fratelli, a bit under the radar, but actually playing pretty well and has flashed in round 1s, or I don't even want to reduce it to round 1s necessarily. He's had spike rounds at this tournament before. I think 80-1 is a very interesting speculative number here. So like all 6 of these plays, it's kind of a lot. If you wanted to take one out, maybe you take out Bramlett because he doesn't have the great experience here, but otherwise I like all of these plays.
And there you go. Sprinkle a little bit on 5 or 6 of them. These are fun plays too. It's a fun first day sweat. And Dylan Fratelli, am I right, Sia? He's the type of player that makes these shows and M Squared's model at SportsLine so important because we only usually focus on top 10s, top 15s, and you can have a guy that's top 25. We don't even realize had a top 25 until we do the research. And Dylan Fratelli fits into that category, yes?
Absolutely, 100%.
All right. Well, my 2 plays are not really plays, but I just wanted to bring them to your attention. Lee Hodges, we already talked about him. Plus 5,000. I think he's worth a little bit of a sprinkle. He was top 10 here a year ago, and he's just starting to get more and more comfortable on the PGA Tour. And Pearson Coody. Guys, this is one of the best stories on the PGA Tour right now. This is his first tour start as a pro, and he made headlines when he did an interview and said that Liv called him, and his grandfather is a famous PGA Tour player. And he was a number 1 player in the PGA Tour global rankings for the amateurs college. And he wouldn't even take the phone call. And the reason was, he goes, I want to play against the best players in the world. I believe I have the game to play against the best players in the world. He's won 2 times since he left college in June on the Korn Ferry Tour. This guy's legit. His brother, Parker, Monday qualified. So both brothers, the Cooties, will be in this field this week. And at plus 18,000 for a guy who's won twice on the Korn Ferry Tour, is that not worth just a little sprinkle? Maybe lightning can strike. Who knows? But this kid will show up. Your thoughts on the Cooties and brothers making it into the same PGA Tour event in their early 20s? How cool is that to you, Patrick?
It's incredible. And if you're betting, I would just kind of caution to the wind. If there's going to be 2 P Cooties in the field this week, whether it's DFS betting. So make sure you're picking the right one there. But yeah, like you said, Coach, he's probably next up and coming star on the PGA Tour. Pretty incredible. He's won twice on the Korn Ferry Tour. And then having his brother, he actually lipped out his approach shot in the playoff this morning. In the Monday qualifier. He almost holed out for eagle from the middle of the fairway. So great to see them both out there.
Awesome. See it? Your thoughts?
I think it's really cool too. I mean, these are the stories that hopefully these guys end up really panning out on the PGA Tour. I mean, these are the stories we're waiting for, right? These are the stories that the PGA Tour always produces. We just fail to sometimes recognize it. And maybe some of us have a responsibility to get those stories out there, which, Coach, you're doing in this very moment. There are so many good stories, not just from the cooties of the world, but from some of the middle tier players, some of the players we're talking about from an outright standpoint. Y'all remember where Will Gordon was like 2-3 years ago? He was pretty terrible, and all of a sudden Will Gordon has reemerged, and we're talking about him over and over again on this very show for the Honda Classic. So there's a lot of great stories out there. This is just one of many.
That's exactly right. And these are spots that are made available by those really smart golfers that are starting to go to live after they've seen everything the PGA Tour is doing. How about Greg Norman saying we're targeting 3 or 4 top 20 players? And who do they get? Thomas Peters, Brendan Steele, Sebastian Munoz. And in a related story, a tree did fall in the forest. I can confirm that. All right.
He took my first round leader card. I can't believe it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Danny Lee might have been on my first round leader card.
Yeah.
No joke, because I've hit him first round leader before last year around this time.
Oh my God, Greg Norman is just so full of himself. It's crazy. He will literally say something and it doesn't exist. It literally doesn't exist. And Thomas Peters, by the way, if you're watching us right now, he complained that he didn't get into the Genesis. I'm number 34 in the world and I can't get in. And then the day after he announces he's going to live. Shut up. Shut up. All right. Big Cheesy says, Coach hates live. I don't hate live. I hate non-competition. That's what I hate. I don't hate live. Compete. More than 48 players. More than 54 holes. And by the way, for all of you who do like live, good news. They announced that all of their events are going to be tape delay, just like in 1982. So it's going to be really, really good. It's going to be really good. Tape delay on the CW. Solid. Boys, another great show. Can't wait for the Honda Classic. For those of you brand new, just checking us out, thank you for taking the time. Whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on demand, we have the absolute best golf minds in the business. M Squared, Sia, the counselor, and of course, my man, Patrick McDonald. But with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these Honda Classic tickets, except for the 2 head-to-heads where I'm going to beat Patrick McDonald, straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. M Squared in the chat, the counselor, PMC. Oh, I like that new nickname I came up with, huh, Patrick? I am the coach. And behind the scenes, the man who loves golf more than any of us, the snake, always doing the work. I am the coach. Turn on your notifications. We're here every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. For those of you watching live, we will be live with Early Edge in 5 in 15 minutes. We grind for you so we can win with you right here at the Early Wedge. Good luck.